Alrighty, more shocking LDS breaking news. Pope Francis meets with President Nelson in the Vatican. All out rumble in the jungle. So, oh man. So I guess he's already met with him. So it's not to meet with him. Met today at the Vatican. So they've already done it. And you don't see the Vatican Knights. Where are the Vatican Knights? I don't see them. Because I see church security, but I don't see no Vatican Knights. Interesting. So, alright. But, yeah. Lucifer must be so proud of his children. That's just wonderful. So, yeah. But, is this Tad again? Yeah, because Tad does everything for the Deseret News for the church. Alright. They met face to face. Two global churches. Church can't be called global. There are only 16 million, which, as I've already indicated in numerous videos, is only 3 million active. So I wouldn't call them two global churches, Tad. That's propaganda. The difference in doctrine are real, and they're important, President Nelson said afterward, as he stood just outside St. Peter's Square. Oh, that was in that movie, Da Vinci Code. But they're not nearly as important as the things we have in common. Oh, no. Nelson's handing over the church to the Pope. Oh, man. Are you kidding me? Yeah, doctrine's not important. It's what we share together. Our concern for human suffering as we watch them suffer and don't do anything to help the poor and the needy. The importance of religious liberty. Yeah, screw doctrine. We want domination for religious liberty so that we can ban people from recording our bishops when they're talking sexual, inappropriate business with our children. Oh, man. And the importance of building bridges of friendship. That's more important than the doctrine of Christ. Walls of segregation. You know, like the Genesis group ward. Instead of being merged with other white wards here in Utah. Oh, God. Tad. No wonder they chose you. You're a propagandist. The two world leaders shared a belief that faith in God brings morality and stability to society. And screw works in God. You know, faith without works is dead. If we have a godless society, we have rudderless ship. Okay, well, yeah. You guys do understand that the Vatican Knights are like trained assassin killers. They're military trained. You know, church security. I mean, look at this guy. You can't see. I just pulled out the view 56 items. It's the guys above that. Those are the church security guys. Yeah. And they ain't got nothing on a Vatican Knight. Oh, man. The two men met for 35 minutes. What is it, 30 or 35? Mutual concern for the youth in their churches. How do we get them to be brainwashed? Our youth are rebellious. Oh, man. They're just out on vacation. And they're going to use all this information for conference if they don't get assassinated by the Catholics out there in Italy, who are going to feel that they've been betrayed by their Pope. Oh, the family, a proclamation to the world. He gave it to the Pope. Aww. Didn't Nelson realize that he overturned the family proclamation with his new temple changes? What's going on there? Telling the Pope to follow the family proclamation when you yourself have banned it from the church? If you don't know because you didn't watch that video of mine, Nelson now has women giving obedience to God directly. Women no longer have to obey their husbands. And yes, it was changed in 91 by Benson to say that women must hearken to the counsel of her husband, as he hearkens unto the counsel of the Father. To go directly to God now means that the man no longer presides in the home. Now both man and woman preside. Children reign supreme. Daddy, I want candy. Have you asked your mother? She said yes. Okay. That's what I would have done if I were a kid, and I'm sure I did. Of course, I went through my mom because my dad was always at work. Alright, very kind to us. Yeah, he had to. You were in his turf. Pope and Nelson embraced? What? They're gay? Huh. Alright, and let's see. Invited Pope to Salt Lake City. Yeah. Oh boy. So what's the Pope's response? Tad? You're not giving us the Pope response. Okay. Did Nelson have to kiss the Pope's ring? We need to know these things, Tad. Come on, Tad, you're the reporter for this. Tell us all the details. Where's the Vatican Knights? Where's Nelson kissing the ring of the Pope? Come on, what's going on? You know, is the Pope going to go to Salt Lake City now? You're not telling us the news we need to hear, Tad. And then past experiences with the Pope, blah, blah, blah. And then Nelson doing a child camera photo. And the kid's got a cool t-shirt there. It's like a generic Star Wars shirt. And he's doing a flock of seagulls failure. Maybe it's a modification on the flock of seagulls haircut back in the 80s. Interesting. Which would explain the generic t-shirt of Star Wars. Back to the 80s. Back to... Aqua sings that song. Alright, and then Deseret News conducted more than 20 interviews with people. Yeah, but you didn't get the interviews with the people you needed to do to cover the story, Tad. We explained to His Holiness that we work side by side, that we have projects with Catholic relief services all over the world, in 43 countries. Yeah, so in other words, you reminded the Pope of your loyalty to him? We have Catholic friends, therefore we're not religiously bigoted towards the Catholics. And we're denouncing the first vision account where Joseph Smith was told by Jesus, our Mormon God, that all Christianity was wrong and an abomination in the eyes of God. You forgot to mention that, Tad. More about the past. The past. The past. Roman cooperation. Unbelievable. So now they're talking about Catholics in the church uniting in Utah to give less than 0.1% to the poor and the needy. See? Right here. $225,000 in food commodities, and $40,000 in blankets, quilts, and hygiene kits every year. That is piddly squat. The church makes multi-billions. And the Latter-day Saint Charities, LDScharities.org, they give the majority, the 90%, as they're required to by law as a charity. But this $250,000, that's nothing. They get donations in the billions. And so they have to give those billions out to the poor. And so this is nothing. And Tad's not doing his research, Tad. And where's the church giving? See, why does the church need to create a charity organization to give? Isn't the church supposed to give? What's Temple Square supposed to be used for, Tad? Do your research. Oh, see, here it is. And Bishop Storehouses. But this is a Catholic saying this. This is Melville quoted. Our number one partner is Latter-day Saint Charities and Bishop Storehouse. God. It's like we have a token, therefore we're not guilty of neglecting the poor. Here's the one person we've helped, therefore we're not abusive to the poor. This is Sister Abby Perpetua. It has to do with, I believe that name is from the Mother Mary. Okay. Let's see. So 50,000 people attended the open house in January and February. That's not a lot. Well, here we have Draper, Utah, opposed Catholics' efforts to build a 47-acre school and church center. Oh, we're looking at hatred by Draper again. They didn't want the homeless shelters in Draper, and they had a big meeting where they all yelled and screamed, wouldn't let the leaders speak. And so they finally realized, okay, we're not going to put it here in Draper. And then Walmart wanted to put a store in Draper, and they forced it back down the valley. And then tracks, they banned tracks from going through their neighborhoods. Yeah, Draper is the cesspool of corruption in Utah Mormonism. They've even got a swinging group. That sounds like fun. Daddy, what are swingers? And so, yeah, here they're apparently 20 years ago, the Salt Lake Diocese asked President Monson, then in the first presidency, for help with some Latter-day Saints in Draper, Utah, opposed Catholic efforts to build a 50-center. So, yeah, they didn't want Catholics in their neighborhood either. So did Monson force it on them? It ended, yeah. Monson made sure that the local leaders were called and suppressed the Mormon voices so that the Catholics were able to put a diocese or a community center to help the poor or something like that. So yeah, that's what it takes to force members to do the right thing, is the president of the church contacting the local leaders to force it on the Mormons to be nice to people. So yeah, I don't know if you realize this, Tad, but this story here that you're talking about, this reveals the evil of Mormons. Way to go, Tad. You're my hero now. I will no longer criticize you. You have exposed corruption in the church. Good job. No intercession was needed to build the Rome, Italy temple. Bishop Close visited with Catholic officials 4 times to secure permits in constructing the temple. Said Catholic fathers were respectful and interested to learn about temples. Do you guys not understand that Catholic cathedrals are designed in the format of a temple? That's why the altar is up by where the person speaks, and the baptism and all that stuff is in their cathedrals. Cathedrals are the temples. They just don't call them temples. Modeling civility. CEOs. This just goes on and on because I don't want to be mean to Ted anymore because he exposed the corruption of the Mormon Church and Draper. But I really wanted to find out about the Vatican Knights and the protection of the Pope, and if Nelson kissed the ring of the Pope, and what did he do to give over to the Pope? Is he offering slave labor, or is he offering money to the Pope, or what's going on? What did he give to the Pope that Mormons will find out in April conference? Because that's what's coming. Nelson's going to announce some new program in cooperation with the Catholic Church. Now they're back to the hygiene kits that are 0.0001% of the money that the church makes. Oh, on the border. Last year, the U.S. administration reversed its brief strategy of separating immigrant families at the U.S. border. Tad, oh man. You make it very difficult for me to be nice to you, Tad. After you've exposed the church, then you go and you say something like this? Brief strategy? Are you kidding me? It was not a brief strategy. They implemented it right after Trump was inaugurated. He came out with a document saying this is our policy now at the border. They tested it. They were doing it the whole time. They didn't get caught until May of 2018. And then Trump didn't sign that he was not going to separate families. He lied. Yes, he signed a document, but he lied. It's now worse than ever. And now you have the Homeland Security Secretary, Kirsten Nielsen, who's going on record with Congress outright lying. They had a congresswoman who was in that committee who had gone to the border previously and videotaped her getting lied to by the guards down there. She was witness to the guards refusing to let people claiming asylum in. And they didn't want to let her in to see what's going on, even though she represented herself as a congresswoman. And then, of course, Kirsten gets up and testifies, cages are not cages because the cages are bigger than dog cages. Unbelievable. And if Congress does not refer to her to the Department of Justice for indictment for lying to Congress, it's just going to be unbelievable. What she's done in the name of Trump is not a brief strategy. 2 years is not a brief strategy. Latter-day Saint Charities provided $420,000. That's piddly chump change. So that's what they've given to this particular organization, I guess. Okay, so this has to do with the border then. Oh, man. So yeah, Trump is forcing charities to reunite the families that the government failed to keep track of. There are thousands of kids spread out throughout the United States, separated from their families. And the government has no idea where they are. We don't know. They violated the judge in the court case with the ACL against the ACLU, and thus the ACLU was forced to go find them because Trump refused to do it. And so it looks like, other churches are trying to help find them. Unbelievable. We are in a nightmare scenario worse than Nazi Germany. And it's just unbelievable. Tad is calling it a brief strategy. Recently explored. Who cares about exploration? Did they do anything? No. So don't report it if they didn't do anything. Oh man, this is just ugly all over. Latter-day Saint leadership has pledged to provide, so they didn't. Again, don't talk about what people promise, talk about what people follow through with. See, when I was in my New York mission as a 19-year-old boy, the district leaders were trying to get me to commit to getting so many baptisms for the month or the week or whatever. And I said, I can't commit to that because it's other people's agency. I can't commit to force other people's agency. No, we just want you to commit. It's no big deal. I can't commit to anything. I can't give you a number. These are people. They have agency. And so far they're saying no. And so I'm going to put 0 as my commitment. And so if I get 1, then hey, I've done better than my commitment. It's just unbelievable. Religious freedom? It's about human dignity? What? What does human dignity have to do with religious freedom? And the whole human rights regime? What regime? What are you talking about, Doxy? BYU, owned by the church. You had to clarify that for us? I'm personally grateful, and I testify to my gratitude in the name. Alright, we're done with this, it looks like. So, Tad, you've left out some vital information that I was really wanting to find out about. The Vatican Nights, the kissing of the ring, the concessions to the Catholic Church. Trump gave America to Putin. Have you given the church to the Pope? I don't know. These are questions we need to know. I thought that Nelson had given the church to Putin, but maybe Putin doesn't care about religion. He just hands it over to the Pope. Yeah, you go talk to the Pope. He will give you what he needs and do this discussion and therefore thus forth. So, oh man. All right, so there's more shocking breaking news of the LDS Church, and you've heard it here, folks, on Travis Wayne Goodsell Unscripted. It looks like we're going to get a new advertisement here for the Deseret News Faith section. Nope, they're going blank. All right, whatever. 3:49 a.m. That's because of the time difference. So it was updated 2 minutes ago. Unbelievable.